Our next presentation shows how Wells Fargo quadrupled its earned media. It's my pleasure to introduce our presenters, Roxanne Gray, who is VP Marketing Research Manager at Wells Fargo, and Joe Hopper, who is President of Versta Research. Come on up.
Good morning. We're going to start our presentation with a story. Once upon a time, not long, long ago, same-sex couples could not get married in the United States. Then suddenly, everything started changing. First it was one state, then 2, 3, and 4. Then it was 5 states, then 6 states more. My name is Joe Hopper, and I'm President of Versta Research, a market research company in Chicago.
And my name is Roxanne Gray, and I'm Vice President of Market Research at Wells Fargo. Today we're going to share our story. It's a story of how Wells Fargo built an innovative and incredibly successful earned media campaign around same-sex marriage. On June 26, 2013, the Supreme Court repealed the U.S. Defense of Marriage Act, or DOMA. This is important because it allowed married same-sex couples access to most of the federal rights and benefits currently enjoyed by heterosexual couples. We decided that the one-year anniversary of this decision would be the perfect time to highlight our expertise in helping same-sex couples with their finances in this complicated legal landscape. About Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo is one of the largest financial services companies in the United States. We do business with 1 in 3 U.S. households. And for the second year in a row, Wells Fargo was named the second top company for LGBT employees by Diversity, Inc. Our commitment to diversity is a big part of who we are as a company. It's part of our fabric, the vision, and values of Wells Fargo. It states, we value and promote diversity and inclusion at every aspect of our business and at every level of our organization. Our goal was to build a story platform for marketing and brand positioning that was relevant to the LGBT community. We wanted to probe areas that are important to our business and that help us understand our customers. And we wanted to generate media coverage with new insights about LGBT investors to highlight our expertise. We worked closely with our LGBT segment leaders and with our PR team to make sure we were all on the same page in terms of strategy and direction. To this end, we posed new questions about same-sex couples and their perspectives on money, marriage, and family. We asked, how much do they know about the current laws? What role does money play in same-sex couples wanting to get married? And how much have they talked about money? And do they want financial advisors who are gay or lesbian? We asked a lot of really great questions.
So here are the nuts and bolts of the research. We surveyed 875 LGBT Americans and then worked with 3 sources of benchmark data at the back end to make sure that we had a balanced sample in terms of gender, sexual orientation, relationship status, and assets. But just as important was the process we used in thinking about the story. And that's such a critical piece because we don't know what the story is going to be, but we need to make sure that we end up with a story. So the first thing is to think about the story. And to do that, we start writing dream headlines. If we could make the data say whatever we wanted, what would we make it say? That helps us work backwards to survey topics and survey questions. And then for every question, we lay out hypotheses. How do we think people are going to answer this one? And if they answer it this way, what's the story? And if they answer it that way, what's the story? And if we can't find a compelling story both ways, we toss it out. Last, we assess all of our measures for simplicity of reporting. We can't report 0 to 10 scales. We can only report numbers like 75% want to get married. Then when we have all of our data, we work in the opposite direction, but it's all about building the story. So we start out with a sea of numbers and crosstabs and significance tests. Then we create a headlines report where numbers are supporting the words of a storyline. Then come press releases and fact sheets, infographics, collateral for social media and business presentation decks, and so on.
So, what did we learn? First, we learned change means opportunity. Most LGBT knew whether same-sex marriage was legal in their states, but there was a lot of confusion about how the laws apply. They had worries about marriage and financial and legal entanglement. The study highlighted a compelling need for financial guidance and gave Wells Fargo an opportunity to reinforce its LGBT offerings and position itself as the leading financial voice to the LGBT community. Second, and this was really critical and where our PR team knew exactly what they were doing, we learned that timing is everything. The storylines captured intense media interest because we launched the effort on the anniversary of a historic Supreme Court decision. Plus, we've been able to leverage ongoing interest as the marriage laws continue to change daily, state by state.
And the third thing we learned is that the story matters most. And here we've taken some inspiration from a terrific book called Math Curse. It's about a girl in school who realizes that everything can be looked at with numbers, and she gets lost in a zany world of mathematical problems. Here she is at breakfast under an umbrella as she contemplates, how many quarts in a gallon? How many feet in a yard? How many yards in a neighborhood? How many inches in a pint? Remembering that the story matters most helped us avoid Math Curse. We designed all pieces of the research so that the story didn't get washed away in a sea of numbers. We focused on the stories we saw in the data about how real people were experiencing dramatic social change.
The story was released to the media at the end of June 2014, and within 3 weeks, the research gained 228 million media impressions, nearly 400% higher than our study from the previous year. Coverage included front-page stories on CNN and CNBC, Bloomberg, Fortune, MSN Money, and many others. Here's one example of a video from TheStreet.com, where a Wells Fargo spokesman was interviewed to offer expertise and commentary.
1 year after the Supreme Court's ruling on DOMA, many in the LGBT community are still struggling to understand the changing laws. Kyle Young is an accredited domestic partnership advisor at Wells Fargo and joins me now with their new survey that takes a look at key financial issues for gay couples. So, talking about money is hard for anybody, for all couples. What is particularly difficult for gay couples?
Well, I think LGBT couples are in a new world for financial and estate planning purposes. We are having conversations with clients as certified financial planners, which we never had before. These are topics that for many years couples may have been together, living as one unit, as a partnership, and they've never had the ability to marry. They've never had the ability to plan financially and estate planning wise as a joint couple. So it's a whole new landscape from a retirement planning standpoint, inheritance rights, healthcare decisions. These are all issues that are new and exciting, and every LGBT couple should really be discussing with their professionals.
So why is this a great interview? They're barely even talking about the work that we did in the entire first minute. It's successful because it's focused on the story, not the survey and not the numbers. Instead, survey results are being used to support the story. The interview continues, and it does include numbers, so we had to get them right. It's new, it's interesting, but the numbers are still serving a story-building purpose. They are the evidence that the story is true. They're proving the point. And then the end of this interview is where all the research leads, and it's the big payoff for Wells Fargo. The story is not about the survey and not about those numbers that we spent months laboring over. It's all about what Wells Fargo offers and how it can help. Next video.
And when it comes to achieving financial success, what's the one advice that you can give to gay couples?
I would say meet with a well-educated set of professionals, a tax professional, an estate planning professional, and possibly most importantly, a financial and certified financial planner if possible.
So our story is drawing to a close. It's a happy story for our LGBT family, friends, and colleagues who are celebrating their love in a way that seemed like a fairy tale only 20 years ago. And it's a happy story for Wells Fargo and for us, given the success of the campaign. And it's a story in which, so far, everyone is living happily ever after. Final video, please.